Hey guys, and welcome to another Armored Warfare video. In the live stream I did on Saturday, I got asked quite a lot as to what my favourite tank was, so I decided today's video should be dedicated to that, and it is the M60A2 Starship. Now, the Starship was designed really as an addition to the US Army's fleet of M60 tanks to provide some extra firepower, and was fitted with a 152mm gun that had the ability to fire either high explosive anti-tank, heat ammo, or Shillelagh anti-tank guided missiles. Same gun was actually also fitted the M551 Sheridan light tank, also appears in Armoured Warfare as a Tier 4 vehicle. The life of the Starship wasn't particularly long one though, because that 152mm gun was consistently outperformed by the 105 and 120mm guns the US Army were already using, and the Shillelagh just didn't have the penetrating power that was really required to deal with heavily armoured vehicles. Plus the whole thing was so expensive to maintain, especially since it wasn't that reliable in the first place. In the end, the Starship, while it did lead to some pretty significant advances in technology for US tanks moving forward, I mean the reason it was called the Starship in the first place was because it was pretty advanced for its time, but they were phased out almost entirely after just 10 years, which is a pretty short lifespan for a tank, but most were retrofitted to become the M60A3. But what's the tank like in Armoured Warfare? Well, let's start with its main feature, and that is its gun, the 152mm cannon. It boasts the ability to fire high explosive, heat, and the ATGMs, the Shillelaghs. It's a very versatile gun. The heat ammo boasts a huge 534 damage per shot, which is the highest of its tier by far. In fact, it's actually more damage per shot than any main battle tank up until the T80 at tier 7. Although its penetration power of just 316mm is pretty much equivalent to most of the tier 3 main battle tanks. You also have the option of using those Shillelagh ATGMs. They do less damage at 400, but have a much higher penetration of 480mm. Now it does have pretty poor accuracy when it's stock, as well as a very, it's close to 13-second reload time, so there's quite a bit of time between shots. But those gun stats are a little bit misleading because they meant accuracy on your crew, some retrofits that boost accuracy and reload time. You can actually bring its gun to being very, very accurate at its tier. In fact, it's more accurate than even the OF-40's gun. 0.8 accuracy on the Starship compared to the OF-40's 0.9. And I even have accuracy on the OF as well as the Starship. So I'm comparing two tanks that both have accuracy on the retrofits. Plus, it brings the reload down to just over 10 seconds, which actually makes it pretty competitive once again. So when you retrofit the tank properly, you can really focus that gun into being very accurate and not quite as painful on the reload anymore. In terms of the armor on the thing, honestly, the less said about that, the better, really. It does have some spots that are fairly tough. However, with only 109mm of armor on the hull, even the Tier 1 PT-76 can pen the front pretty reliably. Lower glacis, turret ring, and the machine gun on the roof are all pennable by that PT-76, and the Type 59 can even plot one straight through the front of the upper glacis, and that is far from being the most punchy of guns for its tier. Normally with a weak hull, I would suggest going a hull down. However, with that machine gun turret on the roof, such an obvious weak spot, you can hit from a million miles away because it's huge. You can't even do that either. Honestly, if you bounce something in this, consider it a reprieve and relocate, because you're unlikely to do it again. Simply put, just really do not rely on your armor. That is pretty much suicide. But with rather a poor armor, that usually means it's pretty maneuverable, right? Well, it's not really that either. A top speed of just 48 means that even the IS-7 has a higher top speed with 61 kilometers an hour. Although the Starship does accelerate faster from 0 to 32, you got 6.8 seconds compared to the IS-7's 7.4. However, this is the thing. You only accelerate 0.6 seconds faster. However, you stop at 48. Whereas the IS-7 goes all the way to 62. So the 3 Amigos episode you'll see this week, I had an IS-7 get to the front line before I did, because he just blasted by me once I hit my top speed. The additional acceleration does help when popping in and out of cover trading shots, so that is definitely where I like that additional mobility the Starship has. Also, for a main battle tank, it does have a slightly further view distance than most of 375 meters, so it does make up for that lower mobility a little bit, since when you combine that with the fairly accurate gun when retrofitted, you can engage from a longer distance than you can with some of the same tier MBTs. But we've taken a look at the stats of the vehicle, but that's only half the story. Why do I like the Starship so much? Why do I class it as my favourite tank in Armoured Warfare? Well, for a start, I love the way it looks. Now, I know this has zero real impact on the performance of the vehicle, but I don't care because it looks badass. The narrow turret with the flying saucer for a base, the tumour on the roof has the commander in his machine gun, that stubby little gun, the whole thing looks menacing. Something you really don't want to come up against in a dark alley. It's big, bulky, muscular. It's just that little bit threatening. But the thing is, outside of that, the armour is pretty poor. You can't really expect to fight frontally in this thing, but where it does excel is in corner peeking games. Never try and have a peeking contest with a Starship, because you are probably going to lose. Trading shot for shot with the Starship will never end well for you, especially since for the most part, he does double your damage in one shot, so you're effectively trading 2 shots for your 1 every time you take a hit from him. Plus, because you're both corner peeking, his longer reload doesn't actually matter as much because he can pull back while he reloads and pop out. So it doesn't actually matter that much, the longer reload. But when you're in the Starship doing that corner peeking yourself, you have this feeling every time you land a shot. In fact, it's not even when you're just corner peeking. Every time you land a shot, you've just knocked out at least 2 modules and a crew member, and you've given that guy a very bad day. And now he's regretting that decision to try and trade shots with you. A Starship on a flank is a very important tank to try and keep alive. True to its real life intention in the vehicle, it is a force multiplier, and with that accurate 152mm gun, it definitely is that, and that's why I love it so much. It's a tank that you see and you decide, nope, not dealing with that. And if they do decide they want some of that, you promptly remove half their hit points. Everyone that has the tank they like more than others in PvP or PvE, and the Starship is that tank for me. It's really solid and one that I would recommend people try out. See if you have as much fun in it as I do. I would be interested to hear what tanks you think are your favourites in the comments below. And I really want to thank you all for watching this video, and also let you know that on the 10th of November there will be a 24-hour live stream over at www.twitch.tv/officialarmouredwarfare, where once again we are raising money for the military charity Stack Up. All donations over $5 will receive a T62 Veteran Tier 3 tank. I personally am going to be live from 8 AM till 10 PM GMT, which is 9 till 11 CEST. So I would love to see you all there. It is a fantastic event, and I joined them for the last one as well in support of the same charity. And honestly, I'm honoured to be invited again back to do it for a second time. I hope to see you all there. As always, feel free to smash that like button to subscribe if you like my content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.